What's up, everybody? We're here with a new type of stream, Suns versus Lakers, the late game. Getting some content out there for you West Coasters or you East Coasters staying up late past your bedtime. Single game DFS lineup constructions. We're going to talk about some prop betting, single game parlays. Basically, we're going to focus this entire stream on this one NBA game and hit it from every angle. Whether you're playing DFS, if you're in a DFS state and you want to build some single game lineups for NBA, we'll help you with that. Our single game model is pumped out, ready to go. If you're in a legal sports betting state, we'll talk about the props you want to play. We'll show you our new tools on how to take advantage of the best lines, how to build some single game parlays. There are a couple of great free bets and bonuses out there tonight for single game parlays at specific sports books, and literally everything you need for one game. So let us know what you think of this stream. We'll have the live chat up until about 10:15. We'll get out of here and we'll answer your questions along the way. Any questions you have about either just generic NBA strategy, betting, or DFS, hit us up, or questions about this specific slate, let us know. Welcome, I'm Brian Jester, co-founder at Occupy Fantasy, and I'm joined by our NBA manager at OccupyFantasy.com, Mr. Boyle. Tom, what's up, man?
Nothing much. It's definitely weird doing them at 9:45 compared to whatever we do, like 4:45. It's like a solid 5-hour difference there, but I'm ready to dig into it.
Yeah, me too, and I'm glad you could join me. It's been a while since you and I have actually talked together on a stream. I know I've hosted some streams and whatnot, but you and I doing a stream together, I'm glad to be on with you.
Yeah, no, it definitely has been a while. I want to say like even last year it was me and Garrett. So even before that, I feel like, but no, it's definitely been a long time.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys see on screen here, we have the DraftKings lineup page. We'll start by building some DraftKings lineups and what to look for tonight's single game slate. Then we'll move over to the prop betting single game parlay, so stick around for that. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are to the channel. We have the Masters tomorrow. We're going to go live tomorrow night, so make sure you're subscribed to get notified when we go live for there. MLB starts on Thursday, and we're going to have live MLB streams or pre-recorded videos 6 out of the 7 days every week of the season. So make sure you're subscribed, get notified when they go live. If you like this type of content, give us a thumbs up. That'll let us know that we should continue to do more of these types of single game streams. And again, any questions, we got the live chat here. So hit us up, say hi, just hop in and let us know what's going on. So Boy, we have the Lakers and the Suns. Lakers, dude, they're holding on for dear life, trying to just somehow get into this final playoff spot. Doesn't look like it's going to happen with LeBron sitting once again tonight. But talk to me about the state of this game, who's in, who's out, and what we can expect from kind of a game script.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, the Lakers are on the brink of getting in. Like, teams are literally asking for them to get in. You have the Spurs. Like, I know Murray's actually sick, but like Murray's not playing. Like, and the Spurs are only up like a game and a half, 2 games, and they're literally just letting the Lakers come back in, and they just can't win a game for the life of them. So, I mean, at this point, I kind of feel like the Lakers are like accepting their fate. They think they're going to lose. They think they have somewhat of a shot. They're not going to risk LeBron's future on it. So, I mean, obviously LeBron's out tonight. Just like it was, I want to say, on that Sunday game against the Nuggets, he was out as well. And then on the Phoenix side, I mean, we have nothing really groundbreaking. I know Booker was out, Crowder was out, and Ayton was out on Sunday, but they're all back tonight. They're all listed as playing. We just don't have Kaminsky or Dario playing, but we haven't seen those guys for a while.
Cool. Okay, so from an absence perspective, right, so we have LeBron out. Everybody's back for the Suns. Do you think that, whether it's DraftKings, FanDuel, and then for sports books, do you think that all these guys are priced appropriately? I know we see a lot of NBA slates where guys are out, backups come in, and they're way underpriced, but does everyone look pretty much appropriately priced, whether it's in the betting markets or in DFS salaries?
I'm starting with DFS. I mean, I still think AD is a little bit underpriced. I mean, if we're looking DK especially, he's 12-2 in the flex. He's the highest player. Actually, no, he's not the highest player. I'm sorry. Booker's the highest player at 12-8. But Davis averages close to, I think it is close to 55 FanDuel points per game, or DK points per game, I'm sorry, without LeBron this whole season. So I think he probably gets you around 45. So I think AD is definitely underpriced there. Westbrook is, you never know with Westbrook. I mean, a lot of the time he'll come out and play really well without LeBron, and the next game he'll come out and score 9 points. I was doing a little bit of the math here. I had to cross-reference a couple StatMuse searches, but I got Westbrook stats with AD and without LeBron. So he averages in, it looks like 10 games, 42.72 DK points per game, That's with AD and without LeBron, and that equates to about 20.5 actual points per game. So I think he's still a little bit underpriced in my opinion. I mean, if we want to look at values, I know the model kind of pointed this out already, but under DK value, we have DJ Augustine with, he's basically double the next closest guy. We have Howard with 7.7, then we have Augustine with 14.7. Augustine came off the bench. I think he was the first one off the bench. Him and Carmelo were the first two off the bench against the Nuggets. He saw a total of, it looks like, 17 minutes in this game. He's only 1K. If he gets 17 minutes again, I will happily pay 1K for him. Even if he puts up 10 points, that's still a good value right there.
And I mean, he's the type of guy that, especially when you look at this slate, there's really nobody else in that price range on DraftKings. And what you see on screen here is our single game Occupy model at OccupyFantasy.com. It ranks every player on our OF index, was our proprietary metric. Lots of factors go into it, but it basically ranks how they think players will score tonight. And then if you have the DraftKings and FanDuel value column, and you'll see the difference. Augustine with a DK value of 14.7, double the next closest person. But because the games are so different as far as single game goes between DK and FanDuel, his FanDuel value is only 3.1 because he's 7K over there. And when you see these situations like this, Boyle, 1K, no other guy in his range, you look at sharp players, what they're going to do. Augustine's going to be 50, 60, 70, 80, maybe 90% in some contests because of what he allows you to do. And it's really hard to get away from that because if he fits in and gets you, even like you said, just 10 points, that's enough to allow you to fit in a high price captain. And you and I were talking before the stream, there's really not many other players in that range that can even see the court tonight, right?
Yeah, I mean, the next closest I see starting would be, we don't have a confirmed lineup yet, but he started last game, was Avery Bradley. He's 3-4. I mean, he's probably like the next cheapest guy I would go. But, I mean, there's nothing stopping you from even playing them together. If you're going low risk, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the field's going to just jam in Bradley, Augustine, and then throw in ADs, Bookers, Pauls, Westbrooks. I mean, they could fit it all if they just put those two cheap options.
Right, exactly. And that's so that begs the question, if we're playing a high-risk contest with exponential payouts, we know there are crazy amounts of duplicated lineups in NBA Showdown, but, you know, boy, I'm the king of unique lineups. I'm always talking about how to get different. But in NBA, dude, there's a very fine line between having a good, unique lineup and just having an absolute trash lineup that has no chance of winning. So if we look at just ways to get different on tonight's slate, I think for me, the best way, and I can't wait to get your opinion because you're the expert here, but the best way for me, I think, is to play a little bit of a cheaper captain and hope that. So I guess the ways you can do this, right? You can either play a mid-tier captain, someone like, and I'm just pointing out random names here, Malik Monk, Jay Crowder, who are going to be less than 10% at captain, and then hopefully that salary combo allows you for the optimal lineup. Or you play someone that's not one of these studs, or maybe it's Paul, Ayton, Bridges, that end up scoring the most points, and you leave a little bit of salary that could upgrade to a different captain. So I guess my first question to you is, what is the lowest price player on DraftKings that you think, and I guess FanDuel too, right? Because if you want to go the MVP route there, who's the lowest price player that you think that can actually score the most points on the slate?
I feel like the lowest I would go would probably be, if you want to score the most points on the slate, I would say probably Ayton. I mean, Monk's getting a little bit too cute, in my opinion. I know Monk has had his games without LeBron playing, but I feel like that's a little bit too cute. I know I'm going to say probably 60% of the field is going to go with AD as captain. You're going to get your typical 10 to 15% with Westbrook because they still think, I mean, and he can, but they still think that he could play like he did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I honestly, I feel like you can even get cute by going like Chris Paul.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
I feel like Booker's going to probably see about 15 to 20. Westbrook about 10 to 15. Davis probably around 60. I mean, Paul's probably going to be sub 10, I think.
Yeah. And if you look, so let's look at it this way. And if we go to, let's look at the model first, right? If we look at OF Index, we got AD, Booker. Paul's number 3, and he's decently behind those two guys, but not an outrageous amount. And if we look at, I'm going to pull up our Akiprop radar tool, which is our new tool. We just added. Basically, what it allows you to do is type in a player or a game or a team and show you all the available props in your area at the sportsbooks that are legal in your state. So you can easily compare the lines. And with this tool, you'll never bet a bad line ever again. So if we look, and I think outside of steals and blocks, most of fantasy production is comprised of points, rebounds, and assists. So we go down to the points, rebounds, and assists bet that you can make, right? So we look at just these numbers. We got Malik Monk 23.5, Westbrook 32.5, Booker 35, Ayton 29, Chris Paul 28, AD 37. So AD is the clear favorite in the betting markets as far as accounting stats goes. But for Chris Paul to be at 28, I don't know. I think that's kind of right on the border, Boyle, where I think that it's just close enough. He could be the optimal captain as scoring the most points, but AD is pretty far ahead.
Yeah, you see Paul with 28.5. Ayton is 29.5. He's also the other one I was talking about. But, I mean, again, if you're going cute, I'd go those two. If not, I would definitely be – if you're going, like, low risk, I would definitely be throwing in AD there, I think. I think he's the highest at 38 on some sites.
Yep.
On point bet, 38, yeah.
So the other way, right, let's say we think AD's got to be the guy there. And Moose is asking in the chat, would you get cute at captain, eat the chalk there? So you're saying let's lean towards playing the chalk. So the other way to get different is to leave a little bit of salary. And I think, Boyle, the best way to accomplish that is to play 1 to 2 mid-tier options where you could potentially upgrade to someone that's higher priced with the salary you have, but you don't, and they outscore that player. So an example would be like, I don't know here. Now we're getting in the tough spot here. So like I guess in the mid-range, right? Anyone from Malik Monk down, who are you looking at that you think could be the highest score in that group, regardless of salary?
Malik Monk down, I would say Monk, but if you're going anywhere below him, I don't think that Cam Johnson sees enough minutes to do it. I think even the model has him only at 22 minutes. I'd say probably either Melo, or if Howard starts and plays 25 minutes, I could see him putting up a decent amount.
Okay, so in that scenario, let's say we're playing that game script, we're playing Carmelo or we're playing Dwight Howard, then we can save, let's say, $1,500, $2,000, because in theory we could upgrade to Jay Crowder or Cam Johnson with that money. But the field, if they're going to do that, they're going to play those guys instead of leaving that salary. So I think that's I don't know, man, that's probably the best option, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too cute at playing like the studs in there, but I would definitely, like, if you have, I don't know, 7.5 left, I mean, I could definitely make a case for going down to Howard, because I could see Howard outscoring Crowder, Johnson, Anthony Payne, like all those guys ahead of him. I can definitely see that if he gets the minutes.
That makes sense. So if Howard starts and he does get the minutes that we expect, who does that negatively impact on the Lakers? Like, who's going to play less or who's going to produce less if that's the case?
I'd say probably just Wayne Gabriel, because I feel like AD is going to play center in some cases, but I want to say Gabriel came in for Howard last game. I can look that up actually right now. It looks like it was... Okay, so it was actually Carmelo who came in for Howard, and then AD shifted. But then when Howard came back in, it was Gabriel. Yeah, so it would be Wayne Gabriel.
Okay. So yeah, so if you're playing Howard or Gabriel, you don't want to play those guys together, basically, is what you're saying, right?
Yep.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, it's 10 o'clock. We'll be here for 15 more minutes. If you guys have questions, make sure you throw them in the live chat. We're talking about single game DFS for NBA. We're about to transition here to some sports betting opportunities, some props, single game parlays. Again, if you have questions, let us know. Happy to answer them. And Boyle, I think it's important to start talking about this, because as the NBA playoffs rolls around, I know a lot of people don't focus on single game, but there are some huge contests for the playoffs that I think you have to have your strategy ready. That way, when these slates come out, you already know what you're prepared for and what you need to do when making lineups.
No, I agree. I think as long as we get the okay to do it, I think we're trying to do these throughout the playoffs, just to help you all out. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, again, I don't play NBA all year, but I do like playing the showdown slates just because it's such an interesting strategy, an interesting concept to try to get unique, but not too unique where it's bad. In other sports is easy, right? Because so much shit can happen, right? Somebody hits a home run, somebody gets a touchdown, or whatever it may be. It really doesn't happen in NBA, so it makes it tough. So, all right, let's bring it back up here. I did want to ask you though, before we jump into the specific props, right here. Here's our live odds screen, which compares all the odds, spreads, totals, money lines for legal sportsbooks in your state. I'm not in a legal sportsbook, so it just shows all the sportsbooks. Let's go to Virginia. Let's pretend we're in Virginia at this time. And if we go down to this game, we see that there's the blowout factor in effect. Suns are 12.5-point favorites. Do you think that impacts lineup building at all? This blowout potential?
I mean, it definitely could. As you said, you always have to prepare for everything. So if you really think it's going to be a blowout, I mean, you could definitely make a case for. Augustine would probably see minutes in that case, an uptick in minutes. I would believe Taylor Horton Tucker would see some as well. I could try to find a game real quick where it was a blowout. I'm sure the Lakers have enough of them this year where I can find one pretty easily here.
Pretty big sample size there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, here's one right here. So in this game, it looks like Bradley saw time in the blowout. Taylor Horton Tucker saw time. DJ Augustine saw time, and Stanley Johnson saw time.
Cool.
So I mean, a lot of those guys that we kind of already mentioned a little bit, like Bradley and Augustine. I mean, they should play through even in a blowout.
All right, so some of the safest bets you can make, especially Augustine on this slate, on DraftKings specifically, again, not on FanDuel because of the way the pricing is set up there. Grandpa's in the chat says, what do you think about fading AD and Westbrook? I guess, like, if you do that, what does your lineup look like, Boyle? Or is it just like 5 Suns and Augustine, or what would that even look like?
You're doing that, which is definitely high risk. I mean, you're going to kind of prepare for like a straight Suns blowout, just like come out and absolutely blow the Lakers out of the water.
Right.
So you're probably going to want to go like a Booker captain, a Paul, maybe even an Ayton. And then you're still going to want a scorer on the Lakers. So I'd probably go down to Monk, maybe even Anthony, and then kind of round that out with another Phoenix player. Because again, I mean, if they're not in the winning lineup, that means that they probably stop playing by like the middle of the third quarter.
Right, exactly. So it's a very specific game script that you have to tell there. It's possible, not something we would probably do tonight, Grandpa, but again, it is something. And so Aaron is in the chat. We talked about this a little bit earlier, saying lock in AD at captain. Do you think it is, let's say you're making a couple lineups, you're making 10, 20 lineups. Do you think it's a reasonable outcome to just, let's say, here, let's put AD in the captain in all of my lineups, and then I'll figure out how to get different elsewhere, right?
That's definitely the low risk approach tonight. I definitely say AD is probably, again, as I said earlier, probably around 60%. So if you're going like, I don't know, like a single entry, a 5 max entry, just anything like that, I could definitely see it. If you're trying to like be unique, it's probably not the way to go. But again, low risk, which is what I'm playing tonight. I'm just going to be hammering in AD as a captain.
Cool. And so, as it always comes back to it, Akiprop Fantasy, it depends on the type of player you are, the type of contest you're playing that dictates your strategy. All right, let's bring the prop radar back up. Boyle, I mean, first of all, I got to say, since I'm not in a legal sports betting state, I can't wait for Maryland to get their act together so the mobile sports books will be here. I was so deep into sports betting before DFS, and I haven't been that much into it outside of the Super Bowl and other big events. So just to see the variety of props available in a single game is pretty mesmerizing to me. And I would have to think, right? So trying to make every one of these bets is insane. But there's so many bets that the sports books can't have a good grasp on all of them. So I would have to say, right, if you're looking to make some money sports betting, go through each one of these bets. I mean, there's so many different ones. Figure out a way to handicap them and then start looking for angles and edges because there are so many different ways you can play just this one game.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm going through some of them right now, and it's like little blocks in a game. I didn't know that was even a thing. No, that's MGM has that one. Total steals, total turnovers. I've never seen that one before. I mean, I primarily just bet on FanDuel Sportsbook and DraftKings Sportsbook. But seeing some of these lines too is just crazy where it's like on FanDuel, it's like minus 110 and then you have like plus 120 on like MGM or something where it's like you can be making that much more money if you just have a little bit of money in each sportsbook.
That's the key, and that's why we encourage everyone, if you're in a legal sports betting state, to sign up for our links, get our deposit bonuses. That way you automatically get the free money. But now you can take advantage of all these bets. So an example here, right? So if you look at total three-pointers made, I'm just going to make a quick math example here, right? So Malik Monk over 2.5. You can either, let's say you only have a Caesars account. You're betting at minus 105. But if you have a FanDuel or PointsBet account, you can get that at plus 100. And you may say to me, Brian, what is 5 cents going to matter? So, Boyle, I'll say this. If you bet $100 on every bet and you make 5 bets per night, saving 5 cents on every bet gives you an extra 91 units by the end of the year. What would you do with an extra 91 units? I mean, it may not, if you're making one bet for your life, sure, 5 cents isn't going to matter. But if you're in this for the long haul, saving 5 cents every single day on every single bet is so massive. With a tool like this and having access to all these sports books, you're able to do that.
Exactly. I mean, there's not really even a reason to have it all on one sports book anyway. I mean, it's not like you're like, oh, like I'm with FanDuel only. Like, if the odds aren't good, why are you like sticking with them? Like, you can have them for some bets, and then the other bets you just kind of move on. You go to points bets because you can get an extra 10 cents. I mean, I've seen some pretty big different ones in here. I mean, a lot of the future ones are crazy.
The futures are massive. They're crazy. The futures are absolutely crazy.
It was like, I know NBA Championship. I was looking at that with Moose the other night, and it was like some sites have like the Sixers at like 4.5 to win it all, and then some sites were giving it at like 9. Yeah, if you bet $100 on that, that's a $50 difference.
Right. There's literally no reason for you to be betting the 4.5 to 1. Right. There's no reason for that to happen. Ken's asking right now, what are some of your favorite NBA futures? Do you have some in mind?
So I know me and Nick talk about it every single stream. We're like, oh, who's gonna win MVP? I was on Embiid since like January. He was on Jokic. I mean, as of right now, I mean, I think Jokic is a heavy favorite. I know Embiid dropped 45 tonight, so I don't know what that's exactly going to do. I don't know what Jokic is going to do, but all it really takes is one bad game from Jokic, and Embiid's going to hop him in the favorite. So if Jokic comes out tonight, and I think he's already off to a pretty good start, but if Jokic comes out tonight and scores like 10 points, doesn't have his triple-double like he normally does, then Embiid's going to hop him. So like if you think Jokic could potentially have like one bad game or 2 bad games in there, then Embiid at like 3-1 isn't that bad of a bet.
Right. So, and speaking of line shopping, right? So if you like Jokic, right? If you only have points bet, you're paying minus 350. But I mean, this is crazy, right? If you have Caesars, you have access to Caesars, which if you're in a legal sports betting state, you can. It's minus 250. You're saving an entire dollar every time you bet. And if you go to, let's look at Embiid. That's a nice thing about this tool too. In addition to showing just the bets for that specific night, you can see the futures for that player as well. So for Embiid, you would want to bet him at points bet because you get him at plus 325 compared to plus 270 at Caesars or plus 200 at some of these other books. So what do you think? Plus 325 at points bet, is that worth it?
Yeah, I mean, again, if Jokic continues to put up a 20-point triple-double each night like he averages, he's going to win MVP. But again, one bad game and it's going to switch. I mean, Embiid came out tonight and had 45 points. He kind of shut down that whole free throw narrative. I think he only made like 6 free throws tonight. He had 45 points. So like basically 40 of those points came from non-foul shots. I know a lot of those people on Twitter were just like, oh, free throw merchant. Like, I mean, he is, but at the same time, you could score without it too. So one bad game from Jokic and 3-1 isn't a bad bet anymore. It's going to be like even odds.
Right. And I got to say, I'm selfishly hoping for Jokic to win it because then maybe someone will buy my legendary Jokic Top Shot. Please, someone take it off my hands. So, all right, let's go back to this game tonight really quickly. Any bets stand out to you, Boyle? Whether it's game props, whether it's any specific player props, any bets stick out?
So I was looking earlier. I saw Westbrook was at 18.5 on all the sites. So he averages 20.5 without LeBron playing in 10 games. I think so. He scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like in 7 of the 10 games, he scored over 18.5. So I kind of like that bet, especially I think last game he came out and scored 27. I kind of like that 18.5. I think you can either get it looks like on FanDuel or PointsBet for minus 110.
Yep, just don't bet it at Caesars where it's minus 128. So save that juice, bet it at one of those other sites. So over 18.5, that's pretty good. How many of those games do you know off the top of your head were AD in that sample?
All of them.
Oh, okay, yeah, great. Okay.
Yeah, I had to go. I had to pull up like 4 different browsers and like cross-reference a bunch of games and get the stats for them. But you know the things I do for y'all at Occupy. So
we appreciate it, Boyle. We really do. So another thing I would look at here, and again, I don't have the data in front of me, but I would look. So for assist, blocks, steals, they may seem like random bets, especially the blocks and steals. But especially at this point in the season, we have teams that they're prone to giving up more blocks. They're prone to giving up more turnovers, which are steals for the other team. So I don't have the data on this in front of me, like I said, Boyle, but looking at an NBA slate each night and seeing which teams give up the most turnovers, which teams give up the most blocks, and then betting overs on steals or unders if it's the other way, they don't give up that many. I think that's a great way to target these steals and blocks bets, especially the ones that you can get some pretty high odds on. So, like, let me see here. Because once you start to get into non-centers, right, these like wing players, you get over a half block at like plus 200. And if you see a team that gives up a ton of blocks or a ton of turnovers, you can make some pretty quick bucks.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the one I definitely like tonight is Ayton, but you don't really make much off him. I think it's over 0.5. You only get, what is that, minus 143.
Yep.
So it's not anything crazy. I mean, if I had to take a shot in the dark here, I'd say Bridges. I don't know exactly how many blocks the Lakers give up, but I know Bridges is a very good defensive player. He's very long, and he should be covering. I want to say he would be covering Bradley or Monk. So it's definitely a shorter offensive player there. So I could see him getting a block. But again, I don't know exactly how many blocks the Lakers give up per game. That's something I'm going to have to go a little bit more in depth for.
Yeah, bring up your 5th browser tab to get that.
Yeah, really. I'm going to have to throw up that's a 3rd monitor right there.
Even so, right? Even if you think that's a good bet on a hunch, right? And we're not saying to go bet on hunches, but bet it at Caesars to get an extra 10 cents, get plus 195 instead of plus 185. So, all right, it's 10:12. Got a few minutes left here in the stream. Boy, anything we haven't talked about? Any bets? Any single game? Any or any long-term things that we haven't talked about?
I know that you were saying before the stream that there's a promotion tonight for a single game parlay. Did you want to speak about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, so it is at Caesars tonight. If you're in a legal sports betting state that has access to Caesars Sportsbook, I know single game parlays are all the rage. They're actually doing a risk-free single game parlay tonight. I think it's up to $25. And this is a requirement. It's a pretty good requirement for the user. The odds have to be plus 400 or greater, which means if you win, you're getting at least 4-1 on your money. But it's risk-free. So if your bet loses, you get that $25 back. So that means, boy, we can build a single game parlay on Caesars using all the stuff we talked about tonight. As long as the odds are 4-1 or higher, which is great. If it loses, we get our money back. So we're basically free rolling a big single game parlay tonight. So knowing that, what kind of angle would you take to build a single game parlay for this specific game?
So I definitely think game script, right? I mean, I feel like everything just comes back to game script. But if you think the Lakers are going to hang in this game or even win it, Vegas right now is using these props based off the Lakers losing. So obviously the Lakers win. AD is going to go over. Likely Westbrook's going to go over. I mean, maybe even Monk over. So like if you think the Lakers hang in or win, I would definitely be like, I would say, all right, so maybe AD over, Westbrook over. I mean, even that's 2 right there. And then let's see. Looking around a little bit more. I know there's not many Lakers players you can bet on, so that's
Yeah, it's pretty much just AD, Monk, and Westbrook. What about, so if let's say the spread holds true and the Suns end up winning by double digits, and again, I'm not used to building single game parlays, so I'm not sure if this is a viable option. Does it make sense to go under on both sides if the starters play less than expected? Like if we play under on the Suns starters, under on the Lakers starters, and we get more garbage time production from the bench guys.
You're cutting in and out a little bit. I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say like in that case, I would definitely pick like if again what Vegas has is going to be a Suns blowout. It almost seems like. So I definitely pick like one guy on the Suns, maybe Booker to have the over, and then just everyone else hit the under. I could definitely see that happening too.
Okay, cool. And it looks like I did freeze on here on camera. So give me 1 sec here. I think we're back now.
Are you good?
Okay, cool. So, oh yeah, Moose isn't running the stream, so naturally there are tech issues, and my camera is frozen. So give me 1 second here. Let me get back up and running. 1 sec. We'll deactivate. We'll activate, and we're almost back here. So, all right. So, Boyle, any final thoughts here? Guys, no final questions. Make sure you join our Discord server, occupyfantasy.com/Discord. We did put in a new sports betting channel there, so if you want to talk about kind of the stuff that we talked about tonight, you can go ahead and do that in there. And we have the NBA channel up and running. Any NBA DFS questions you have, pre-lock during the games, go ahead and join that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Masters with Nero Mata tomorrow night will be live at 9 p.m. Eastern. Starting Thursday, MLB is back. So every single day, outside of Saturdays, I think this season, we're going to have an MLB stream, live Q&A pre-lock, or a pre-recorded video earlier in the day. So make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you like this single game content. Boyle, what do you think? You think these streams are good for the viewers?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. And I mean, I found that there was always an edge come playoff time. I know rotations get shorter. As long as you're able to look up the rotation and just kind of know who's going to play, there's definitely an edge. I've won a good amount of money during the playoffs, start playing single game like DraftKings or FanDuel or something. So I'm definitely excited to bring it towards the playoffs. I know once we get the ball rolling a little bit, I want to bring on Jayhawk to help us out too. So I know he has a lot of knowledge about that as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for that as well. Before we get out of here, I know you're a Sixers homer, but and we'll probably talk about this next time we stream too, and I feel like it's a good discussion every time, but futures to win the championship, what's the best value right now to win the championship for the NBA?
Ooh. I would still probably go with the Nets. I think they're 5-1 now.
Yeah, let's see.
4.5.
Let's bring up the Nets here in the Akiprop radar and see. So you said the Nets at roughly 4.5 to 1. Are they?
But they are still.
Yeah, are they the favorite still?
I think the Suns are the favorite.
Okay. Let me see. Let's check out the Suns real quick. So yeah, while we wait for this to come up, note that if you're not in a DFS state, if you're not in a sports betting state, that super sucks. But we do have the Prize Picks promotion now. Use code Occupy. Go to prizepicks.com. You can make some prop bet parlays. Really good odds over there. Really good payouts. So use code Occupy. Get a 100% deposit bonus. Check it out. Ken likes Clippers as a long shot bet. Let's see here. Let's go back to the Nets. And the Nets are to win the NBA championship. Yeah, you can get up to 7-1 over on Caesars, Boyle.
Oh, okay. I definitely like that then. Yeah, I feel like once the playoffs hit, they'll obviously, I feel like, kick it up a little bit. I don't know what's going on with Simmons, but even if he gets back a little bit, that's help. So yeah, I'd go Nets if I was betting right now.
Okay, cool. 7-1. If you don't have access to Caesars, still 6.5 to 1 at FanDuel, Caesars, and PointsBet. Derek says Golden State's 10-1 on MGM. What do you think about that?
They were my pick before the season. I think I got them at 14-1 before the season. Oh, nice. It just scares me. It scares me that Curry's out, you know?
How long is he out for? Is he out like indefinitely?
So they're going to reevaluate him the day after the regular season ends. So we have no idea if that means like he'll be ruled out, or if he starts playing and he's going to play 35 minutes a game, then yeah, I like them to win the Western Conference, I think. But as of right now, I'm just too scared to put any more money on him, I should say.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's probably fair. And Ken's Clippers long shot bet. Again, here's the power of odds shopping. At MGM, they're only 35-1. You get them at 49-1 at FanDuel, or 50-1 at Caesars. So make sure you do that line shopping. And Cal says in the chat that he's starting to do some court work in reference to Curry ramping up. So we'll see what that means in regards.
I would love that. Would love that. Let me hit my 14-1 and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm sure you would love that. So, all right, guys, that'll do it for this stream. Again, all the tools that we used on screen here are in the description below this video, or you can just click the betting tab in the main menu of OccupyFantasy.com, get the live odds, the Akiprop radar. And then if you're in the legal sports betting state, check out our deposit bonuses page. That way you get access to all these free bets and offers and free bets and deposit bonus matches. So again, if you're going to make all these bets, why not use some of the sportsbooks money to get started? Check out the single game model. OccupyFantasy.com ranks every player, FanDuel, DraftKings, with their value for single game contests. And be sure to check out the daily plug. The last day is April 8th. Just the model will be live for the playoffs, but we'll try to do some of these streams as well. So make sure you follow Boyle on Twitter at tboyle24_DFS. I'm at Brian Jester FF. We're at Occupy Fantasy. Again, make sure you subscribe. All kinds of sports videos coming over the next week or so. So appreciate you listening, and good luck if you're playing tonight's Suns and Lakers game.
Peace.